Here is some good infographic on how humans or hominins and megafauna may have interacted and how the climate also may have contributed to megafaunal extinctions on various continents at various time scales. So this figure is trying to summarize at its best the causative drivers as humans, climate, and insufficient data. Relative size of extinction extinct taxon icon corresponds to relative magnitude of extinction. Number of extinct genera is listed in each icon. Correlations in time, so humans survive and climatic change happens. Numbers indicate how many genera have robust dating control evidence except as indicated, so provisional evidence and needs more work depending on whether it's a star or a question mark. Just take it for what it is in terms of how difficult it is to even to find out all the details of number of genera that went extinct. Typically when you go in the past, you don't necessarily look for species, because you look for families or genera, because even if you find one member of that genera or family, you know that that particular family or genera existed, so that makes it easier and a bit more robust. Looking at Africa, start there. You can go back to 160 kilo years when humans arrive. They obviously evolved right there. And 50 to 11.5 thousand years, you have basically the middle of the last ice age to the end of the last ice age, and Holocene. So there was a straddling of climatic change happening along there, and the number of species genera that went extinct is listed as 10. And if you look at 40 kilo year BP over parts of Europe, then you see humans survived 50 to 24 kilo years ago. So here are the numbers indicating how many genera have robust dating control and so on. So I'm not going to go into those details, but you can see the number of genera that went extinct and the size of the species there. Climatic change happened again over the end of the last glacial maximum into the Holocene, all the way into just 3,000 years ago. What else can we say about it? You can see that relatively speaking, number of species that went extinct here is relatively small, considering that humans have been there the longest, and the basic hypothesis is that they co-evolved, and this is why they didn't go around killing everything they saw. Whereas if you look at the arrival of our species into Australia, that was less than 80,000 years ago. So the number of genera that have robust dating control go here 6 and maybe 1. Climate change has played a role more recently, and there is a straddling of human arrival over 72 to 44 kilo years, but the number of genera that went extinct is 21, much higher than in Europe or Africa, basically because it's a very hotly debated issue as to whether hunters-gatherers killed them. When they look at the archaeological sites where evidence of hominins is found, or modern anatomically and behaviorally modern humans are found, it's not clear that they hunted them down. It's possible that climate change did it, or it's possible that human-caused habitat change and climate change did it. So humans may have been indirectly responsible as well. So that's not very clear there. If you go into North America, again, data goes back to 50,000 to 13.5 kilo years, and climate change straddled this period where evidence is going backwards a little bit into Clovis, but they arrived at 13.5 kilo years or before, and climate change went into the end of glaciation, especially in terms of the Laurentide ice sheet. And there is the Holocene, and you can see that the number of genera that went extinct here is high during the during the period when the humans arrived. And so here 34 is the relative size of the extinct taxon icon, corresponding to relative magnitude of extinction. So just be sure that there are many numbers here, so just get a relative sense. So again, seems like late arrival of humans has a higher number of extinctions, especially when you consider South America, where again arrival happened somewhere around 18 to 11.5 thousand years ago, and data goes back to greater than 18,000. Climate change straddles here into the Holocene. So again, what exactly causes the extinctions? Is it climate change? Is it humans? Is it human-driven habitat change, environmental change, vegetation change, climate change, or is it direct human hunting and gathering? So those are not always very obvious. But there are hypotheses to explain the late Quaternary extinctions, type or name and description. So environmental hypotheses include catastrophes, habitat loss, mosaic nutrient hypothesis, coevolutionary disequilibrium, so humans, hominins and megafauna coexisting, but equilibrium being disturbed with the environment and habitats, self-organized instability. We obviously won't go into those kinds of details, but they include mega droughts, rapid cooling, bolide impact, so meteorite crashes, preferred habitat types lost or too fragmented by, let's say, climate change or human activity, loss of floras with high local diversity, disruption of co-evolved plant-animal interactions due to flora rearrangement, climate-driven or human-driven, collapse of system due to intrinsic dynamics. So it could be a disease, it could be a disease related to change or just related to climate change, and so on and so forth. Human impacts other than hunting, habitat alteration, introduced predators, and hyperdisease. So humans would have brought many pathogens with them, which obviously led to a lot of deaths when they colonized in the post-Columbian period the North Americas and South America, for example. Loss or fragmentation of viable habitat due to human impacts, including fires. Direct predation by dogs, rats, cats, and pigs. For example, even now cats are apparently causing massive loss of birds and other species just by their tendency to chase down and hunt birds and so on. Introduction of virulent diseases, which is what I already mentioned. Overkill hypothesis is a blitzkrieg or protracted overkill, so just arriving and killing everything in sight, or settling down and killing megafauna over time. Rapid loss of prey due to overhunting, loss of prey after prolonged interactions with the predator. Combined hypotheses look at keystone megaherbivores, prey switching, and predator avoidance. Ecosystem collapse due to loss of landscape altering megaherbivores. So right now, if you look at grazers, browsers, and elephants in Africa and so on, they serve ecological function by eating things and carrying them elsewhere and pooping them out and spreading seeds and helping ecosystems. So Landscape altering megaherbivores, perhaps with increase in fire, could have caused to collapse. On the other hand, non-human carnivores switch prey as humans usurp preferred prey. So if humans came in and started taking small animals they want to eat, and bigger prey that depended on them start to switch prey, then they could have gone extinct because they couldn't survive. And herbivores restricted to inviable refugia. Refugia is where, when climate change happens and certain spaces remain intact due to various causes, geographical protection, climate protection, and so on. So these are just ideas on explaining the quaternary extinctions, but keeping this and this together in mind, just remember that the data has to be still gathered more as they become available, and better explanations have to be found. Some modelings have been done as well, but obviously co-evolution of humans in Africa is one hypothesis, and new arrival of hominins and extinction of megafauna in other continents like the Americas and Australia leave many questions open. So look for newer papers that may try to address those issues. Okay.